Now, if you're an e-commerce brand, I'm sure that you've looked at many ways to decrease this, right? Your customer acquisition cost. Now, you probably tried lots of different, ad strategies, you're making different sorts of creatives, whatever you've tried, right? You probably try to reduce your customer acquisition cost, but, does it really matter? Should you really even focus on your customer acquisition cost? Now, based off our experience and things that we've heard from clients and just other business owners, it's not something you should focus on, right? And the reason being, customer acquisition cost is it's going to continue to go up over time, right? And there's basically nothing you can do about it. It just gets more and more expensive. And it's not something you can control, but there are a few things that you can control, right? Which is what you should actually be focusing on in order to grow your business and become more profitable. Some of these brands that you see here, that's how they're able to actually still remain profitable and still remain successful. And most of these are still growing, right? Even though ad costs are continuously going up. So it's not the customer acquisition cost being too high that's the problem, right? Otherwise, some of these businesses will be, worse off than they previously were because their ad costs would have risen, right? And so up until this point, if you've been focused on, I need to get my customer acquisition cost down, I need to get it down, and that's what you've been focusing on, that's what you put your resources into and all your energy into, you hire to reduce your customer acquisition cost, and it still hasn't clicked and you're still not able to get to the point, that you want to get to, it's probably because you're focused on the wrong thing, and that's going to be your customer acquisition cost, right? So, some of the previous brands I've showed you and some of, the successful brands that you see and you probably maybe want to be like, right? Or maybe you're competing with them, right? The reason they're able to get to that level is because they actually focus on other things such as average order value and customer lifetime value. So a great example of this, right, is Starbucks. Starbucks have a customer lifetime value of about $14,000, right? So I think that's over 20 years, but they know that, on average per customer that they acquire, they're gonna make $14,000 off of that one customer. Now, if you were able to know this, right, so this also requires you to actually know your data, right? You have to know about your business, know the numbers, so that way you can actually know what sort of customer acquisition cost you can actually afford, right? But back to this, right? They have a customer lifetime value of 14,000. Knowing this, they could quite literally spend 8,000 if they wanted to, right? 5,000, however much they want to spend to acquire a customer, because they know that, as long as it's below 14,000, in the long run, they're going to be profitable. And so that's why if there's another coffee shop, right, or a small coffee shop or a business, right, that comes and tries to compete with Starbucks, they're not going to be able to do that. They don't know if their customer lifetime value is 14,000 or if it's anywhere near 14,000. That way, they can't spend as much as Starbucks to acquire that customer, and that's what gives them the competitive edge. So as you can see, the issue here isn't customer acquisition cost, right? You reducing your customer acquisition cost, maybe by 2 times, what's that gonna do? You'd much rather focus on this. Customer lifetime value and average order value is basically unlimited, right? The potential of how high your customer lifetime value can be is unlimited. Whereas reducing your CAC, right, or your CPA, whatever you wanna call it, there's a limit to it. You can't get it below 0, right? So if it's at 10 right now, best case scenario, you might get it to 5, but that's still not gonna, make you extremely profitable or, give you that competitive edge, just like Starbucks have, right? So what I'm gonna do in this video is I'm actually gonna show you how you can increase your average order value and your customer lifetime value, right? The first way, and it's actually a very underrated way, is by using loyalty programs. Now, as I said, especially when it comes to e-commerce, right? Loyalty programs are heavily underused. Now, you're watching this video, you probably don't use it, but loyalty programs can quite literally be the reason that a customer buys from you rather than your competitor. I'll tell you why that is. So an example that would be, Costa have this offer, or they have a loyalty program where if you buy 5 times, you get the 6th coffee for free. So now, someone that's bought from Costa 4 times, right? If they've even thought about now going to Starbucks or another competitor or local coffee shop, right? They're still more than likely gonna go to Costa, right? Especially if it's right there, right? So if they have a choice, they're like, okay, they're probably gonna go back to Costa's because they know that if they buy the 5th time now, right, they're gonna get the 6th one for free. So now if you apply this to your brand, let's say you have a ton of competitors, you can keep your loyal customers basically loyal forever if you have a loyalty program. I mean, I guess it's sort of in the name, but if you have a loyalty program, even if they think, right, they're like, okay, let me just try something new, your loyalty program will keep that customer buying from you rather than going to a competitor, because they know that they might have points with you, or you might have an offer where it's like if they buy this many times, they get this one for free, whatever. The second way is going to be bundles and subscriptions. This is something I always go on about, and it's for a reason, right? It's because it's super important. If you can have subscriptions, go ahead. If you can have bundles, go ahead and do it. There's no reason for you to not, right? So when it comes to subscriptions, you're going to need a product that people can buy over and over again. This can be perfumes, creams, supplements, stuff like that, right? Of course, if it's just like a piece of clothing, then subscriptions necessarily make sense. But even then, you can find a way to do it, right? If you go about it the right way. So example could be maybe if someone subscribes, whatever the new drop is, they have access to it straight away. stuff like that. So there's ways to do it in every niche, but you know, it's gonna be a lot more simple with some of the products that I mentioned. And when it comes to bundles, you can do that with a ton of products, right? Even if you have clothes, you know, maybe you sell supplements or food, whatever, right? You're gonna be able to do bundles with it. Now what bundles will do, of course, it will increase your average order value. People will just be spending more upfront, or subscriptions will of course increase your customer lifetime value because they've subscribed. It's less hassle for them to buy again. It just happens automatically. And if you make things easy, if there's less friction to buy from you, more people are gonna buy from you more times. So that's basically what subscriptions do. Now, the big gem here, right, is if you can do both. So if you combine subscriptions with bundles, so people buy a bundle as a subscription, that's where the money is. So not only will, you know, customers be buying more times, each time they'll also be spending more. So your lifetime value goes up and your average order value goes up, right? Best of both worlds right there. Now, third is gonna be email flows. Again, a lot of brands have email flows, right? You know, you probably subscribe to an e-commerce brand or your own brand, right? People subscribe to it, they get an email flow saying, welcome, here's a discount code, whatever. But something I've noticed that a lot of e-commerce brands lack is post-purchase email flows, right? That's what's gonna help you actually increase your customer lifetime value. So setting up the proper post-purchase and VIP email flows. So what you wanna do is after a customer buys, you don't wanna just leave it there. If you do that, then it's no surprise that that customer doesn't buy from you again, right? They don't really feel wanted, or, you know, they don't feel appreciated. They just bought from you. So what you wanna do is after they buy from you, you know, that flow maybe 14 days later, maybe 7 days, or maybe just, you know, when it gets delivered, they get a flow saying, thank you for purchasing, you know, maybe give them an offer, maybe you just tell them how much you appreciate them, whatever, right? But you want to send a post-purchase email. It's basically a non-negotiable. So now you can also go ahead and take a look at the numbers. So if you have things like Triple L or Retention X, you'll be able to see at what purchase number. So maybe if someone bought 4 times, right, how likely they are to buy the 5th time, or if they buy it, you know, 7 times, how likely they are to buy the 8th time. I can go ahead and look at these numbers, right? And for example, let's say, you know, 80% of customers that buy the 4th time from you, they end up buying the 5th time. So you know that if a customer's bought from you 4 times, it's highly likely that they buy the 5th time. So what you can go ahead and do is create a VIP email flow that only goes out to customers once they bought the 4th time, pushing them to buy the 5th time, because you know that it's likely they'll buy the 5th time based off data, right? There's a lot of other ways to do this. You know, you don't have to just set up one VIP email flow, set up multiple, right? See what works for you. At the end of the day, when it comes to anything, right? Ads or email flows or, you know, CRO, whatever, right? In any business, it's always test. Even with this video, you know, sometimes I might test the thumbnail, right? See which one does better. So same here, what you wanna do is, you know, don't just set up email flows and leave it, keep testing them as well. When people look for secret hacks and tricks, you know, one of the main secret hacks and tricks that works in everything, right? So it will solve all your problems, whether it comes to ads, emails, or content, whatever it is, right? It's gonna be testing. That's literally the one thing I can suggest to people that have problems in any area of business. Number 4 is gonna be including a referral program. Now, if you have a good product, you know, people are already gonna be likely to refer, you know, your product to their friends, because it kind of gives them goodwill with their friends. So, you know, if it's actually a good product, they're like, oh, if I recommend this to him, he's gonna like me because he just got this wonderful product, right? So even without you doing anything, if you just have a good product, it's already gonna happen. People are already gonna refer you, right? So you're gonna get a lot of sales from word of mouth, which of course has no customer acquisition cost, right? And of course, as I mentioned, Starbucks has that as well. So on top of them having a massive lifetime value, right? A very good lifetime value of 14,000, they probably also have a lot of word of mouth, right? Because people like the drink, they refer their friend, or they like it and they suggest going there with their friends, whatever. But it kind of increases their status within the friendship group, because if it's good and, you know, they take their friends there, their friends are, this is really good, they're gonna like him more or her more, right? So that's kind of psychology behind it. So as I said, if you have a good product, people are gonna refer other people already. But on top of that, what if you were to actually incentivize it as well, by giving them some sort of maybe discount or money off, or even money, right? Or you can give them, like, a lot of referral programs I see is like get £5 for yourself and for your friend, right? So on top of, you know, having a good product that people already want to refer other people to, if you were to also incentivize them, the only thing that would mean is that you just get more word of mouth sales. And you might look at this and say, oh, but I don't want to pay them, right? It's going to add up a lot, whatever, right? So, you know, if you give them £5 each or something, or $5 I should say, that might add up, right? But that's basically going to be your customer acquisition cost, right? So think of it as however much you give them, right? If it's cheaper than your ad cost, so if you're spending 20 on ads, right? So if your customer acquisition cost is about, let's say, $25, if you just give people $10 to refer other people to your brand, right? That's basically more than double the performance of your ads, right? Because you're spending $10 to acquire that customer rather than 25. So referrals is actually just a pretty amazing way to actually get sales. You know, even if ad costs go up, this isn't, right? You're able to control how much you pay people. And number 5 is going to be upsells. this is something a lot of brands mess up, right? You know, I feel like a lot of brands upsell, so chances are you yourself probably do upsell, so that's not the issue here, but you probably do it the wrong way. Now here's some of the ways that, or I should say the main ways really, that we position our upsells. So right below the product, we'll have something that says bought together or complete the fit, right? You know, usually when you scroll down on a website and it'll say, look, people usually buy these together, or if it's clothing, you could be like, oh, get these trousers to, you know, complete the fit with your top, whatever. Second one is we usually have cart upsells, sometimes with a discount, not all the time, but sometimes we put a discount just to, you know, push people that slight bit more. Because at the end of the day, again, you can afford to do that. You can afford to give discounts on the upsell, because at the end of the day, your customer acquisition cost for that person is the same. If you spend $25, you know, as the previous example, to get that customer, anything else that they add to cart, that doesn't have a customer acquisition cost, right? They're already there, they're already gonna buy. So you can give sometimes crazy discounts because that's all basically gonna be profit. So basically you can just offer some crazy discounts in order to, you know, get them to add that item as well. So that's basically something to keep in mind in any area of business. You have to remind yourself that, you know, sometimes you can actually afford to give crazy discounts because you're going to spend the same to acquire that customer. So you might as well just get them to spend more, right, by giving them crazy discounts. Now enough rambling. Number 3 is going to be, you know, post-purchase upsells. This is going to be right when they enter their card information and press purchase. Before you get taken to the, you know, the thank you page where they can see their tracking number and stuff, you give them upsells again with crazy discounts because you can afford to do so, as I mentioned. And if they say no to it, then you might give them a downsell. If they say yes to it, you might even give them another upsell, right? And the good thing about this is they've just put their card information in, and when you do that, they don't have to put their card information in again. If they press yes, it just pays through automatically and just get taken to the thank you page. So it's no extra steps, right? It makes it super easy and simple. And it's actually, that's been done towards me. And I was kind of surprised at how well it worked. And that's why I implemented it with basically every brand that we work with. And lastly, it's going to be a limited time discount for post-purchase upsells. So an example is after, you know, they get taken to the thank you page, they'll get a pop-up saying, you know, we have this very good discount. Give something about 25%, maybe even more, up to you. As I said, you can afford to give crazy discounts. Remember that. Let's say you give 25%, and there could be a timer that says this is an exclusive discount code just for you, and you have 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to use it. If you don't, then that's it, right? You don't have this discount or this 25% off. That way, again, you're technically improving the average order value, right? And you're not spending anything extra really to acquire that customer apart from the discount that you give. Now, number 6 is going to be tiered cart goals. Again, this is something that's sort of easy to implement as well, but a lot of brands don't use it, and it's just another way that you can convince people to spend more. So basically what tiered cart goals means is when people go into the cart, you know, it shows up like a progress bar that says, you know, if they spend $50, they get free shipping. If they spend $75, they get a free gift, and so on and so on. You can maybe have 3 tiers, 4 tiers, however much you want. You might just have 1 tier, but what this does is, you know, if you combine this with something like the bundles, right, or a volume discount of some sorts, a lot more people will be going for the bundles because they say, oh, I might as well. As you know, buying that bundle will mean they unlock where the incentive is, so maybe it might be a free gift. So rather than just buying one of that product, right, they might as well buy a bundle of it where they get a discount already, and on top of that, because they're spending more, they're gonna get free shipping, maybe a free gift, or, you know, a specific discount as well on top of that. So, because the tiers can be anything, right? But having tiered cart goals is basically gonna make it much more likely that people spend more in your store, right? And number 7 is gonna be giving money to a cause, right? There's an entire market of people that really, really value charity work, right? So right now, right, if you give a percent to, you know, any good cause, make sure to let people know. Put it across your website, maybe put it on your checkout, right? Just to let people know that, look, we are doing this and that their purchase, you know, goes towards this, right? That's going to give you loyal customers because they can see that, you know, you actually care about a cause and you're actually doing something for the world. So they know that, you know, buying from you, they know you're just going to receive the product, they're also helping a cause as well, right? You know, it's the whole reason that McDonald's switched to paper straws to help the environment, right? That gets them more customers basically, or that gets them, or that segment of customers, you know, it draws them into McDonald's because they see, oh look, they're environmentally friendly or whatever, right? Now, a disclaimer that I'm going to give is only do this if you already help the cause or if you actually genuinely, you know, want to help. Don't just do this to get sales. I'm not going to recommend that in this video, right? That's not what I'm condoning. What I'm saying is, if you genuinely want to help, right, you might as well use that to your advantage. That's all. I'm not saying, you know, go ahead and donate to charities just because you want to get more sales or grow your business. I wouldn't recommend that to you guys. Now, finally, number 8 is actually just having a good product. Although this might be quite obvious, right? That, you know, of course, have a good product. You know, it's surprising how many brands don't actually have good products. And then they, you know, wonder what's the issue, right? They're like, oh, my ads, what else can I do for my ads? what else can I do to my website, blah, blah, but that's not the issue. They could do anything they want to their website and ads, but they still won't get to the point that they want to get to because their product isn't good. So I felt like putting this here because a lot of brands have bad products and they try and make up for it with their marketing or their website and stuff like that. But you know, the reality is you can't make up for a bad product. You know, even if you were to watch this entire video and take note of everything I just said and actually apply it to your store, as long as your products aren't good and people just don't like your products, none of it means anything. You know, it might work a little bit, but it won't work as well as they should. And I can guarantee you, if you have bad products, you will never get to the point that you want to get to, right? So if you have a goal for your business, might be a certain revenue goal, right? You're never going to get there with bad products or bad products. And the simple reason for this is, if people don't like your product, they just won't buy from you ever again, right? Or they won't refer their friends to you, which, you know, at a point, so think of all the big brands they think of right now, right? Apple or maybe Nike, right? A lot of their business isn't from marketing. It's from, you know, maybe your friend's got a Nike shoe and you're like, wow, that looks really good. I want to buy that as well. So it's mostly from word of mouth. But if you have a bad product that people don't like, they're not going to refer their friends. And, you know, if you want to get to that #1 spot, right, and beat all your competitors, you're not going to do that without word of mouth. Sure, you might get to, you know, a decent point having bad products, but you're never really going to beat your competitors and you're never really going to get to that #1 position by having bad products. And on top of that, of course, if it's that bad, you know, customers are also going to ask for a refund, so you're not even going to make any money. So what this all means is, it might work for a while, right? You're not going to get to the point that you want to get to, and it's all eventually going to come crashing down. So, you know, I should maybe put this as point 1, but before you do any of that, make sure that you actually sell products that you believe in, right? Products that people actually like, right? So just make sure to sell good products. Otherwise, even if you follow, you know, all the steps that I, you know, gave in this video, or the tips, right, or in any of my other videos, none of them is going to work, right? Because these have worked for brands before. I just mentioned what Starbucks do, right? They've made it work, or Nike have made it work, or we have clients that have made it work. But then, you know, you might sit there and think, oh, but it doesn't work for me, right? And that might be the reason. Now, another problem that a lot of e-commerce brands face is that they have very low profit margins. So if you want to figure out how to break out of the 10% profit margin gel, make sure to go check out the video on the right. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But that's it for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.